thus far. And best of luck to all of you as you seek a drug-free world. Thank you.
I would just like to explain a couple ways in which this detail is going to be working. You'll be coming up here, and you'll be addressing this panel. The panel is Mr. Dickerson, Supervisor of Elizabethtown, Mr. McDonald, who is our District Attorney, Mr. Paskey from the Division 3, Mr. Moran from Senator Stafford's office, Mrs. Dennis, who is the mother and the mother of a walker, and also works for Peter Men's office, and Mr. Hook from the Division of Substance Abuse, and one senior, Francis A. White.
Welcome to Elizabethtown. You know, as you were walking up the street a few moments ago, I was very proud to see all of you so happy and filled with joy on this journey that you are making through Essex County. It was a delight to see you, and even though possibly there were not thousands of people along the streets to watch you, I'm sure that every building you went by, you drew their attention, and they knew what you were walking up the street for. They knew that this was a drug program. And I'm very proud to have all of you here this morning on this particular occasion for what you are doing. My mind goes back to an incident that happened last October down in the New York City area when a little boy of 12 years old. I'm going to ask, how many of you are 12? Very good, we have a good number here of 12 years old. This little boy was on his way to school, I think, or was going somewhere, and he came to a street corner, and there was a bully there. And the bully insisted that he take drugs, and that he become involved in drugs. The little boy very defiantly said no. And because of his decision of saying no, the bully tried to force him. And he still was defiant, and he kept still kept saying, no, I'm not going to. And because of his decision of not wanting to have anything to do with drugs, the bully set him afire, and he burned him terribly. The little boy was taken to the hospital since last October, and he's just about ready to be released now. He has had 12 or 13 skin grafts, which are very painful. And the other day when he was asked, what would he do if he was to go through this same incident again? He said, I would do exactly the same thing. And he was a young little boy of your age. He had the stamina and the courage to be able to stand up and say no. And that's why I was so proud of you. As I saw you coming up the street this morning, that incident came through my mind of that young boy of 12 years of age who stood all alone. You have a whole group that you worked with this morning. But that little boy stood alone, and it took a lot of courage. It took a lot of determination on his part to be able to say no. And so I'm going to ask each one of you this morning, if you were approached for drugs, what would you say?
No.
A whole lot louder than that.
No.
Very good. God bless you.
I think it's scary. Our recommendations are to provide information in K to 12, all grades, by teachers and counselors.
To assist the war on drugs, BP number 3 has developed 3 suggestions
counselors to provide parents with the basic information regarding hazards of drugs. Just like children must have the shots before entering kindergarten, they must also be aware of the dangers of drugs. Funding should be provided, and also believe funding should be provided for a statewide Walk Against Drugs program. This money would be used to help continue spreading the message, stop drugs, and high on money. Also, this program could provide much needed source of positive reinforcement and peer pressure for our adolescents.
Rehabilitation centers all across the U.S. more walks and have more education in the groups from K through 12.
Our group has thought of two suggestions. One is to make more information available for kids by training high school students to help teach the elementary kids, to teach younger kids more specific things about drugs, to make specific drug-related courses available, possibly summer courses, and to have public service ads, and for the parents to make information available about preventing, recognizing, and treating drug problems. And the second one is alternative activities, to make alternative activities available, like under 21 bars, drug-free parties, more walk-related programs, and teen centers.
We would like for our communities to come together as one by forming more organizations that provide for young people year-round. We would like also to support for at least one residential rehabilitation center in Essex County. We want to prohibit the promotion of alcohol by role models such as athletes and movie stars. Also, we would like to have special police forces dealing with drug and alcohol arrests. We think that if the above is accomplished, we would have better communities in which to live.
We feel that the parent programs such as Youth Team, Walk Against Drugs, and National Helpers should be made known in schools to students so they are aware of what's available to them. We also feel that the school administration should support the students by both providing them with the use of faculty and moral support.
We think no one at all should use drugs, especially adolescents. They just cause the loss of loved ones, friends, and most of all death. And ways we can help is some rallies, speakers, news, and posters.
We at the Youth Team 14 feel that the key to improvement in our drug-free youth programs is more support, more recognition, and more funds. The media and the public often focuses on the negative side of the drug epidemic in our nations, with little knowledge or recognition of the positive steps being taken to work towards a cure for this deadly problem.
We are asking you to encourage businesses and industry to render funds and public endorsements to our cause, perhaps by offering larger tax rates and attributing investments. We are very proud of our work in Essex County. We feel that the approval and encouragement of our legislature to be an important stepping stone to increase involvement in programs.
Sure, my senior wife would love to see the church built like this every Sunday. Maybe it is that. I think
Excuse me, Sean, most of these students don't know who you are.
Many of the speakers up here spoke about enforcement of the drug laws. They are enforced here in Essex County. The state police and the local police do a wonderful job. And they can do a much better job of enforcement of these laws with the cooperation of members of the community. Many times it's very difficult for the police to collect evidence with reference to drug transactions, drug use, drug possession, unless they have the cooperation of members of the community. Many times members of the community are reluctant to come forward or to cooperate because of a stigma that you're a snitch or whatever. Stiffer.
Morning, I'm Larry Cassidy with the Division for Youth. I'm welcome here. I'm listening as an adult, and I have to tell you that I'm one of those state bureaucrats that makes lots of decisions. The state does provide money to Essex County youth programs through the Youth Bureau and all the fine efforts of Joe Pavancha and his staff. And some of that money goes towards providing positive alternatives, and many of you talked about the need for more of that. Well, as an adult, it's especially refreshing to hear you tell us what works for you, and I want to ask you to keep doing that, particularly on the local and county level. The Youth Bureau has a youth council, all of your towns have recreation commissions, and so when you say to us, we want more K through 12 education, the next thing we need to hear from you is, well, what kinds of courses do you learn best from? I understand you've had a lot of learning activities on this walk. Do you need that in the school? Or do you want someone to come and lecture to you? So keep telling us adults what works best for you, because we need to continually listen to your message, and we try and do that. The second thing I'd like to ask from you is that there is the possibility of teen centers in communities. The Division for Youth potentially has a large pot of money coming down in the next 6 to 8 months, which will allow for some local teen centers. We don't have all the details yet, but now is the time to start talking to your local youth commissions and supervisors and youth bureaus. Where'd Joe go? To start thinking about what it is exactly you want and how can you, as the youth of your town, make it work. Because that's the only way that the teen center is going to work, is if the people that are going to use it are going to take care of it. So again, we're listening to you. You still have lots of work to do. You have lots of walking to do. I feel warm and fuzzy the fact that you're out here walking for 3 days and willing to take your time at 10:30 at night. I know it was early for you. Think about things that you can tell us that will help us do our job better. God bless you. Keep up the work.
Both when he's in Plattsburgh and when he's in Albany. And as you know, Senator Stafford and the other legislators have a lot to do with a lot of the things that you all talked about this morning. Making the laws that the district attorney enforces, making the laws that the sheriff's department acts on, passing the laws that gives the money to the Youth Bureau so that these programs can continue. And obviously, it's great to hear from you people what you want so that I can go back and tell Senator Stafford what we should be doing next year when it comes time for the budget. When I say budget, that's a key word, because budget gives the money to the different departments and bureaus in the state, which give it to the county of Essex and Franklin County and Clinton County so that we can do these programs. From what I've heard from you this morning, we need some more money for the Division of Youth to help you all get off the streets and not have to worry about drugs. Because we all know drugs are no good, right? Right. And we all know drugs are unhealthy, right? Right. And we all know that we've got to put, as the district attorney said, the kingpins, the people who bring drugs into this country and into the North Country and into Essex County and into Elizabethtown, Mineville, Minerva, and all over the North Country, behind bars. But we've also got to be able to say, when you people see something going on that looks drug-related, you've got to, number one, say no to the offer, and you've got to, number two, tell somebody. Because if you don't tell somebody, the bad guy's going to get away. Right, Sheriff?
Right.
Okay.
Purposes, that's what those initials, DSAS, mean. Our agency is the state agency that funds and regulates substance abuse prevention and treatment programs in the state. We're very proud, I must say, right at the outset, of the work that's done by Doug Trevik and his staff, Moses Luddington, and the excellent program that he has throughout Essex County schools and communities. We're very pleased to be a part of that through our funding. I was very interested in your recommendations and your comments, and I think, just to keep it short, because you've had a long time, you've got more work ahead of you. I think you hit some very important points. What I got out of all your recommendations was a thread that you recognize that there are many, many pieces involved in a solid prevention program against drugs and alcohol. You cannot have single snatches here and there. It has to be a combined effort involving a lot of people, all segments of the community. And you mentioned that in your comments. A walk against drugs is an important awareness element, but standing alone is not going to accomplish a great deal. Am I saying you shouldn't do it? Absolutely not. Keep it up and do it every year and get it bigger. But it's one part of an overall broad program that you should have, and that is going on in this county. It has to involve the schools, you mentioned that. The necessity of drug education from the earliest levels, kindergarten, preschool. We have preschool programs beginning now. We don't tell kids at 3 and 4 what the drugs are, but what we talk about is how they can begin to socialize with one another, how they can begin to learn to live in a community and be productive citizens in that community. That's drug education, prevention. So it's got to be in the schools. It's got to be in the community. Somebody mentioned business and industry. Very important part. I know that businesses and industries have supported your program here by donations and so forth. That's very important that we keep businessmen, businesswomen, and community leaders involved in the fight against drugs. The government sector, certainly, not only through funding, but through legal support and so forth. The police, very important part, not only for law enforcement, but for education as well. The churches, I'm very happy that you're having your program in the church system. I think, again, it highlights that the churches are a very important part of any community that needs to be involved in a broad-based drug education program. Your suggestions are excellent. They're well thought out. And they do cover the gamut of the things that I have mentioned. I just want to congratulate you on behalf of the division and bring you greetings from our director, Arthur Webb, from my director of prevention, Kathleen Kaufman, and from all our staff. I wish you continued success in the efforts that you take each year and on through the year in keeping alive this message of saying no to drugs and saying yes to a healthy and productive lifestyle. God bless you.
Old age. They're going to give you guys create all this good change for us. Hummel has already been officially inducted into our club, but we need to give in a certificate, and we really appreciate it. And hope those commercials can be put on after Gary Patsy is the person that really has control over whether we can do this or not, but Joe Bravancia is not going to let him change his mind about that. So this is the one that Larry, Jerry is going to give Larry his shirt and welcome him into our class. Thank you very much. We're just doing sizing changes. And your certificate from us.
Thank you very much.
Officially. Thanks a lot. Neil Hope is another one of those people that helps to fund the program, that helps to get you here. And we're going to officially induct him, and we appreciate what he's done, Jim. Neil. I don't know if Mr. McDonald can hear this or not, but we're really glad to welcome him into our official.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Richard.
Appreciate it. And we are more important than garbage because we ain't garbage. This young man's related to the other guy, so I'm going to get out of the picture. I think that, and you know what? Oh, he didn't. Yesterday he was kind of low, but he didn't know that. He thought he was the only low one in the group. He was depressed. And so we spoke to him and said, you know, we're going into your hometown tomorrow. Now, do you want them to see you doing this? So he promised me, so I owe him a whole box of warm fuzzies. Y'all, you just don't understand. There's no need for explanation. He's got his box of warm fuzzies, folks. This is the first dude in the pool tonight in the ride. He's going to present to his uncle, Alan.
Thank you.
Ever so much for being here and listening and creating change. Okay, guys, give it to him. How do you feel?
It was also my first walk, but it really wasn't my decision. It was my boss's decision I was going to be here. But I'm glad they all made it, too. And I was happy to be a part of it.
Owen Marvin. Jerry Ashwan. Becky Trombley. Jennifer Fenimore. Amber Milberg. Jamie Smith. Andy Cypress. Beth Frankhorn. As you can tell by this one, this is a pretty strange group. As you probably can't tell by looking at this great, I really enjoyed working with them. My youth leader here and the rest of them had a good time. They
Excuse me. Guido.
Everybody here, and especially this group, we don't plan to meet you here, coming all the way across the country just to be here for a few days and a while, find youngsters, and share things with them. And it was real good, and I'm definitely back next year.
Sam! Hey, Sam! He's looking at you, kid.
How many people have played rock, scissors, paper before? Rock, scissors, paper? It's not that game. That's not what it is. Okay? How many people have ever played a game called Tiger, Pistol, Person? Tiger, Man, Tiger Man. Okay. It's not that game either. The name of the game is Puma, Pistol, Person. Now I'm going to describe it to you. Here's how it goes. There are three symbols. First of all, the Puma. Now this game comes to us from California. So it's real late at California kind of game. So this is not a Puma who is, what's Puma? A cat. Like a mountain lion, large cat. It's not really ferocious. It's real late at kind of cat. So its symbol is rah. Is a California cool person, and it's hey. Simple will get the black line over there, lined up facing me in this direction. This team will get this black line facing that team. Clear? Clear? This team will use this black line facing that team. Everybody is on. Now, when you come up, the final set of rules are person controls the pistol. So person beats pistol. And the second rule is that the Puma scares the person. So Puma overcomes person. And pistol scares the Puma. So the pistol group beats the Puma. If you do exactly the same one, it's a tie. You do it over again, have another huddle, and do it over again. The best 2 out of 3 on the first round will determine who goes into the championship round. Is that clear? Okay, make your huddles. Go. All right. You have. Sorry.
Dude. Okay, ready? Anybody doesn't know what to do? I bet we do. Hey, dude.
Hey, no comment.
Hey, 2. 1, 2, 3, go!
Now, I'll tell you something. Now, you start with your hands at your side. There's no way now. Somebody can start like this, like they're going to get that symbol and make them crazy, they do the crazy side. Everyone starts at the side. This team against this team. And the 2 teams that go into the final round will be the ones that
Brain
Okay? Are we ready? So we'll go this team, which is team number 3 versus team number.
You're gonna be run over in a minute.
4. 3 versus 4.
Get out of here.
When I give you the instructions, it's going to be 1, 2, 3, go. I need spectators. Keep watching. Ready?
Hi, Damon.
1. Oh, before you do that.
Hi, David. Hi. Love ya.
2, 3, go.
Wait, they screwed up! They screwed up!
1, pistol.
How we screw up?
No, if they do the same thing, we're doing them again.
How are you thinking we're getting
Hey, Brandon!
They're gonna do a gun.
Why are they talking?
We control the gun. They're gonna do a gun. They're gonna do a gun. I know they are.
So we'll do the same thing.
No, if we do a gun, it's a tie. If we do the person, we win. Majority rules.
On the line, let's go.
Can a gun kill anyone? Majority rules. Gun can kill anything.
Okay, by the way, don't go until I say go. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, go. 1, 2, 3, go. It's a tie. You have to replay it on the line. Okay, this is me. Ready? 1, 2, 3, go. Gun and man or person controls gun. One man, one man. Come up. Come up. Come up. Okay, now see. Judges didn't catch it. Guys. They lost anyway. Okay, here we go. We're going to go 2 teams over tied. See where they go. Are you ready? Yeah. These 2 teams. Count 3 and go. 1, 2, 3, go. Ready? 1, 2, 3, go. That is a Puma person. Puma scared. Ready? On the count of 3. Ready? 1, Okay, so you knew you had no problem. Okay, the point is, isn't it interesting that your mind did that? Now, what I did is I put a little bit of a box. I wanted to get these reactions because whenever you play a competitive game, which I put you into, there are more losers than there are winners. And it doesn't have to be that way. It's just the way that we set up for ourselves to operate. Now let's see if we can be clear. How can everyone win in this game? Who's got an idea about how everyone can win? No one loses. Yeah. Without doing that, because what happens is the mind automatically plays win-lose. Don't keep score, just do it for fun. How can we play this game specifically where everyone wins? Be positive. Give me a specific behavior and become positive. Oh. Okay, I'll tell you. Your task is to go in the 4 seconds. You come out on the line, everyone has to do the same system. If you do that, it's only the second time I've ever seen you do it. You got to match each other. Without tell it back. Don't let the group ahead do this is first graders. Think you can handle it? Okay, go to your house and see if you can handle it. You come up with one symbol that everyone does. That's it. Go. Okay, go.
Oh, Sal. Oh, hey, Miss Bus Driver lady. Come on, smile for the camera.
All right, folks. Now, I don't know if you're going to be able to do it. I hope you are. I'll give you 3 attempts, but let's see if we can do it on the first one. As I said, I'm going to see you do it as first graders. Successfully. Stop knocking off with this. Ready? And hold your whatever one you got. Hands to the side, please. 1, 2, 3, go. Share one last thought, and then I'll get out of your way. What's really rare about what you just did is you are the only group above 6 years old who ever accomplished that on the first attempt. The second thing that's really interesting is that you're the first group I've seen out of around 60 who managed to hold on. It's real unusual. But everybody won. They did lose a logical thing. We're all people. But for you, it's going to go. So, the point I want to make, and I'll leave you with this, is that when you do things, you can do it cooperatively. And just as I was fun, and no losing. That's a really important one. Okay, so
someone's coming to mug the cameraman. This is alright. Oh, there's a nice shot of her rear. Cut it out.
I've had the opportunity to meet most of the workshop presenters. There's a couple of new ones that are going to present. And so we're going to do a couple of things. We're going to induct them with their official certificates for the 1990 walk. And instead of you people charging All right. But first, the induction. For Bob Barrett, we'd like to give you a certificate. Okay. Carol Klemper is first. Jeff Maher willing to be Lisa R. The two new kids in the block. But they didn't want pictures. These people I met once before, but I met before, just because she interviewed for a job program, and she took one another place. But I met this conference, I'm very excited. I met some people down there again, and we did a lot of donor activities. They're presenting this afternoon. They're the ones that will present in the afternoon. They came with class first, and they looked at your schedule a few minutes ago, and they were really not going to picture this getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning. So they asked for only afternoon sessions because they had struck on get themselves together. She'll have us finish. Now we assume you're going to do an excellent job. And check it out. Yeah. Let's see. I think the easiest way to do this is the smallest one first, and then the bottom will be. Okay. Even though this one's in the gym, I appreciate it. The last time, everybody signed up for the gym one, they could. And so this time, you're getting the leftovers. Well, the people that couldn't make it this year. Okay. So, you people are going to move over there to see our found Jeremy is in Lacey. Misty Culver, Jerry Kumon, Joey, Watt, Miller, Sarah. Okay, these are relationships with the contact. It's going opposite that way. Okay. Jim Roy, Brittany, Sean Brady, Elizabeth Pierre, Dale Ross, very good. Becky, Lil Brink, is there a Daniel Lewis? Well, anyway. And there's somebody else who can't reach writing. It might be a first initial B, last initial N. Bobby Mike. Is such a first name?
Yeah.
Well, that first initial.
Look up your name. Yes, he is.
Peer pressure is going to Sheila, Red Top, Lisa.
Say hi, guys.
Tanya, Mark Corey, Becky.
Elise is off in a daze again, and now I got it on tape. I can prove she's off in a daze. Hi, guys. Hi, Elise. Hi, Janelle. Janelle. Oh, Janelle.
Hey, Darren. Laura. Give me a clue. Hi, Graham. Joe Harvick, Elisa Sprague, Owen Marvin, John Cumming, and TK. Who are you? That group?
Hi. Allison. I'm zooming in on you, Allison. Oh, who's the person next to you? Because I zoomed in on her too. She's in the picture.
This one just started. So this.
Who are you? Jean. Oh, Jean. There's Tara sitting there with a stern look. And there's some guy that I met just a couple days ago. Hi, Mom and Dad. There's Justin. Hey, Justin, what's up? There's Shayna. Hey, Shayna.
Trisha.
Oh, Shayna.
Oh, Aaron Damon. April Thompson. Joel Riddle. Todd Abear. Bill Bassney. Justin Hooper. Wade Bissonette. Damon. Deanna. Stoddard. Damon Ikeen. Kathy Rancourt. Amy Trump.
Looks like
Just the
Joanne
first
something?
name, it's good.
Okay, Joanne, Wade, Deanna, Brianna, and Todd.
Dina.
Dina. Oh, your tape.
Okay, Todd, what color card do you have? Okay, the pink card stands for someone who has shared needles, so that means they must be an IV drug user. And they're not only an IV drug user, but they're one that doesn't clean their works, that doesn't take care of their works, that hasn't sought help to get off drugs. They're someone who shares their needles with someone else. Okay? Todd, would you read everybody on your card?
Joel, Bill, Margaret,
And would they stand up, please?
somebody else.
Probably me, yes. Well, we already know I'm infected, okay? So who is the, what's your name? Heather. Heather has a pink card, and the pink stands for she's also an IV drug user. Just a minute, Margaret will call who's on her card. Okay, she's also an IV drug user that has shared needles. Pardon me?
If your name's been called, to stand up.
Yes, you do. Sorry, I didn't understand what you said. Everybody's standing whose name has been called, right? Okay, Heather, would you call the names on your card?
Carlos, Shayna, Anna, Tracy, Joanne, and Damon.
Okay, anyone, let me see, let me pick, what's your name?
Me?
Yeah. Damon?
Yeah.
Okay, and what color card did you have? You had a green one? Okay, that's unprotected sex. Can you read off everybody on your card, please?
I'm putting it on there.
Joe Riddle, Damon Ikeen, Nikki Gibbs, Carla Carty, Heather Randall, Beth Rancourt, and Shayna Palmer. What do you think? We're all infected.
Okay, in the blue, Joel, what color card do you have?
I'm green.
You're green? Okay, that means unprotected sex.
Okay, I had Brianna, Damon, Todd, and Tina.
Okay, in the white shirt, what color card do you have? Yes. Yes.
Green.
Green, and could you read the names on yours, please?
Hannah, Heather, Carla, and Tracy.
Okay, and let's do one more, with Penn State on your shirt. You have a pink card? Okay, that means that you're an IV drug user.
Joel, Damon, Beth, Margaret.
Okay, this started with me, right? And look how many people it's hit. I'd like you people to stand down, sit down, stand down. And people who had a blue card, I'd like you to stand down. Okay, the blue card, would you read what the blue card says?
It doesn't matter what anyone says, it does not share any information or sign anyone's card.
Okay, the blue card stands for someone who has had the strength or the foresight or the knowledge to say no. And it's not, it's a small number sometimes compared to what it should be, okay? Should we give ourselves a little bit of applause for that? All right, so a lot of what we're hearing is just say no, and I think just saying no, N-O, is a very difficult thing to do. So my job with the AIDS Council as an educator, because the only vaccine we have against this say no. Just say no, K-N-O-W. So the better equipped you are with the knowledge and the understanding of what it takes to avoid getting this, you do not have to become infected. It's very difficult for someone to give this to you. You have to take it. Okay, there's only really one way that someone can get this without taking it, and that's an unborn child if their mother is infected. So all the other ways to get it, you have to take it. So it comes down to a matter of choice. Okay, so I'm just going to go over a few things that are probably really boring. You're all sick of hearing it, but just to make sure that you know exactly what they stand for, I'm going to go through it. Okay, these are acronyms, and an acronym just means that the letters of the words become a word in themselves, and AIDS is an acronym for the 3 different words. Okay, we all know it means acquired immune deficiency syndrome. Can anyone tell me what acquired means? Yes. You pick it up. That means you have to have contact with the virus. It's not inherited, although an unborn baby could get it from her mother. It's because the blood passes back and forth between an unborn baby and her mother. So you don't inherit it, and it's not in your genes, and certain people do not get this easier than others, okay? Anyone can become infected, so you have to have contact with the virus. An immune deficiency, you can tell me what that means. Okay, Todd.
It means that you get disease, you get sick,
That's right. Okay, so AIDS, what it does is it gets in your system, it lowers the army, the fighters, the white blood cells, and particularly the T4 cells, which warn your immune system that there's something invading your body, and it destroys them. So it lowers your immune system, and each time you get an infection, you get weaker and weaker and weaker, and pretty soon you're not able to fight off the infection at all. And it's the infection itself that kills you. Okay, so syndrome. Anybody? But this side of the room. Anybody over here know what syndrome is? Okay, that just means it's a set of diseases. So AIDS itself, though I call it a disease, though everybody calls it a disease, it's not really a disease. You don't die from AIDS. You die from the other diseases you get. So it's a set of diseases. It's a syndrome. Any questions on that? We first began to realize that there were people infected with this disease, and it wasn't called AIDS in the beginning. It was called a different name. What was the name? In 1981. And not until 1982 did they discover what caused it, and that's that it was a virus. They didn't even know if it was catching. You could catch it, or if by standing in the same room you could get this. They finally figured out what it was, and it looks, I'll draw this on the board, a little bit like this. So it's got little knuckles sticking out of it. Has anyone else seen pictures of it? Okay, so these knuckles attach itself to certain cells, high in white blood cells, and they attach itself, and then they go inside the cell. Now, once they're inside the cell, it's like a masquerade party. They change that cell into itself, but the rest of the system isn't aware of it. So it still looks like that T cell, but actually it's not. Actually, that T cell is now a piece of virus, which breaks out of that, goes into other cells, kills that, goes on and on and on. So in a normal or a healthy, I would refrain from using normal, but in a healthy person, your T cell count can be some 8, 10, or 800, 1,000, up to 1,200. That's probably a normal T cell count. In a person who's infected with a virus and who's beginning to show symptoms and beginning to get sick, it goes down to about 500. Then what they're doing now is they're starting to give them medicine. But what it does is it gets inside your T cells, it attacks them. Your T cells are no longer able to go into the rest of your system and warn it that there's an invader in it, so your immune system drops. Okay? Human immunodeficiency virus. It's a human disease. It's not passed from cats or dogs or cows or sheep or monkeys. That's SIV. That's simian immunodeficiency virus. Okay? Pardon me? It's not from a monkey? What? Simian is? Okay. Great. We have a Latin scholar. All right? So you understand that it's a human disease. It's passed between humans. And the last acronym is AIDS-related complex. And they don't use that too much anymore because the disease affects different people so differently that to give it a name before someone actually comes down with full-blown AIDS is kind of ridiculous. So what they're starting to use now is pre-AIDS, or you could use symptomatic or asymptomatic HIV infected. Okay, so that's a really important thing to think about. No longer do we just talk about AIDS, but we talk about HIV positive. So that means if you're infected, no matter whether you're sick or not, and you can remain healthy for a very long time, and perhaps there's an outside possibility you can remain healthy forever, but you're still infected, and if you're infected, you can pass that virus to someone else. Whether you mean to or not, you can pass it to someone else if you do whatever it is that passes this virus along. Okay? I'm going to pass out these sheets, or maybe someone else could do it for me. And there's this kind of technical information, and on the front is a definition of AIDS. I'm going to talk about that right now. Whoops, sorry. That's why I want to distinguish between HIV and between full-blown AIDS, because in order to get medical help, and in order to be a statistic, and that's all we have for statistics are people who are classified as having full-blown AIDS. Now that doesn't mean you're infected, that means you're infected and you have one of these 24 or 25 infections. Okay, so it has to be a lowered T-cell count and one of these specific infections, and then you would qualify as having full-blown AIDS. But until you have that, even though you're infected, you're still not a statistic. So when I tell you numbers of people who have AIDS, that's way, way, way below the number of people who are actually infected. The numbers are astronomical of the people who are infected. Okay? So when you hear statistics on the news, those are the actual full-blown AIDS cases. Does everybody understand that? Because it's kind of a hard discussion. Okay. Now before you get to the last stage of infection, which we would call AIDS, there are a lot of symptoms of infection. It can be fever, night sweat, swollen glands, rash, weight loss, fatigue, or diarrhea. And this isn't just like, I mean, everybody has these symptoms once in a while. But if they stay, and they stay for a very, very, very long time, it could be a sign that you might be infected. It could be many other things. But these are some of the signs of infection. Okay, and infection in different people take different routes. So this is a big if, a big or right down here. Because you can be asymptomatic. And you can be asymptomatic for up to 10, 12, 15 years. And they keep extending that period because they only really started knowing about it in 1981. So a person could have been infected 15 years previously, and then suddenly they could start to get sick. So if you imagine the amount of people you come in contact with in 15 years, and if you were an IV drug user or a sexually active person that didn't protect themselves or the person they were engaging in sex with, you imagine the numbers, and those people would become infected and infect. So it's a really, it's something that mushrooms and mushrooms and mushrooms. Okay, now, in order to know if you're infected, there are tests. And the tests don't test for the virus itself, they test for the antibodies that your system builds up when you become infected. Now, if you were infected, say, last night, it might take 6 months to a year even for those antibodies to build up in your system to show up on a test. So if someone goes and has a test, and it comes back negative, okay, they do have reason to celebrate. Chances are they're negative. But if they were just infected about a week before that, it might not show up on that test, and then they would have to be retested another 6 months. So what this means is that we all, as human beings, have to begin taking responsibility for our actions. And if you're concerned, you get tested, and you refrain from doing those things that made you concerned in the first place. Okay. There's two kinds of tests. One is ELISA, and one is Western blot. If you went in for a test, they would give you the ELISA test. They would draw blood. They would test right. They would test that blood. If it came back positive, they would test that blood. The same test, ELISA again. If that came back positive, they would then go to the Western blot, which is a much more specific test, and it's a much more expensive test, and it's a much more time-consuming test. And if that comes back positive, then you are 99% sure that you're positive. And I say 99% because really there's very little in this world that is 100%. So it's 99%. Same thing goes if you're negative. In fact, if it were to err, it would err more on the side of being positive than negative. So if it came back negative, and negative means that you don't have the infection, you don't have the virus in your system, you're even more assured that you are negative, okay, aside from that window period. Okay, so we've gone over AIDS, we know what that means. Antibodies, anybody got a clue? I talked a little bit about them. Okay. Antibodies are what your body builds up once it's worn to go out and kill a virus or a germ or a bacteria, whatever is in your system. For some reason, with HIV, the antibodies show up in your system, but they don't kill the virus. So they're only warners. And this is unusual. But in HIV, the antibodies do not kill the virus. They just warn. They serve as a warning system that the infection is there. Okay, they don't kill it.
So they're kind of, the antibodies, by warning the system, are replacing they're filling in the white cells that are no longer HSV1.
Well, all they're doing is warning us on a test that you're HIV infected. They don't really warn your system. All they do is give us a warning that you are infected if you're tested. Now, if you're not tested, there's very little way to know unless you're really sick. Okay, your immune system, we went over that. Incubation period, that's what I was talking about. And generally, it shows up before 8 years. But like I said, it can take 8 to 10 to 15 years, and it may even be extended as the disease gets older and older and older. Okay, so that's what incubation period. Now, incubation period is a little bit different from window period. When you test for the antibodies, window period is you may be infected, but you may not have enough antibodies yet to show up. So that's kind of confusing for different people. Okay, opportunistic infections. I have some of them on one side of the pink sheet. Some of the most common ones are cancer, pneumocystis carinii, should be specific, but they call it PCP, or Kaposi sarcoma, or I'm sorry, that was pneumonia. The Kaposi sarcoma, which you might get big purplish blotches, and your limbs swell up. I mean, they're very horrible infections, and they're in the air all the time. But because we have healthy immune systems, we're able to fight them off. I believe that maybe it might be up to 30 to 40% carry the pneumocystis carinii virus. So if they were infected, they would come down with that pneumonia. I think the pneumonia is one of the most common infections that we have. 11 o'clock. Okay, some of the other ones are herpes and thrush, which is a yeast infection. Any questions on those? Okay, I'm going to hand out, again, a myth fact sheet, and I'd like you just quickly, it's not a test, I'm not going to score you on it, so just quickly go over these and either circle true or false, or put true or false, in front of them, and then we'll talk about it once we get them done.
Now it is.
Excuse my fingers. You don't deserve to yell at me.
Paul with the harvest from his garden of patience. Let us, LETTUC, thank you.
If you're talking, you're not going to be able to handle this. Get out. It's time to not make another sound until we're ready to leave. Okay, so we're going to bring this to closure, hopefully right now. You people are the ones that made this event. You people came in, many of you very scared because you came either by yourself or you came with a small group and you felt overpowered. by the numbers of people from other school districts who are already running around, knew each other, and felt comfortable. I think if we broke you into family groups at this time and asked you to sit down and discuss what is scary for you at this moment, it would be significantly different from what you discussed on Tuesday night. You people have done an outstanding job of cooperating. We hear your sleep. We hear the absolute least amount of moaning and groaning. We have absolutely appreciated every single thing you've done to make this the best walk ever. I want to thank you for just being so great. I saw people cooperating was starting to help each other, and it wasn't